Ashton with North Bullock Christian Church, and this is your Kids Ministry Spotlight of the Week, the Pentecost. After Jesus ascended into heaven, the 11 remaining apostles returned to Jerusalem. They gathered in the upper room with Jesus' mother Mary, his brothers, and his other followers. Together they spent time praying while they waited for the coming of the Holy Spirit. During this time, Peter said they should choose a replacement for Judas, who had betrayed the Lord. "This man," Peter said, "must be one of the men who were with the Lord the whole time since John's baptism." 2 men were suggested, Joseph and Matthias. The apostles prayed and asked the Lord to guide their choice. Then they cast lots, which is like drawing straws to see who got the shorter straw. That man who would be God's choice. Matthias was chosen, so that he became the 12th apostle from that day on. The group patiently waited and prayed for Jesus' promise to come true. Then on that day, the feast of the Pentecost their wait was over. A great sound filled the room like a mighty rushing wind from heaven. Then small flames like tongues of fire appeared above each person, and they were all filled with the Holy Spirit. In that moment, the Holy Spirit gave each of them the ability to speak in other languages. The Spirit of Jesus promised had come. Meanwhile, people from other countries had gathered in Jerusalem for the feast. They heard the sound coming from the house and came closer. But as they listened more carefully, they were bewildered. Each one could hear his own language being spoken. "Aren't all of these people from Galilee?" they asked each other. "How can they be speaking in our own languages?" The people in the crowd were from all the surrounding lands. All of them heard the apostles talking about God's mighty works in their own languages. How had this happened? Most people were amazed at what they were hearing and wondered what it might mean. But a few had their own idea of what was going on. "They are drunk," they said. "They are filled with new wine." Even though it was still early in the morning, of course, the people couldn't have been more wrong. The outpouring of the Holy Spirit at Pentecost marked the beginning of God's plans to reach the nations with the gospel. The book of Acts tells us that people from at least 15 different countries were there that day. Jesus came to fulfill the promise of God made by Abraham centuries before, that he would be a blessing to the nations. With the coming of the Holy Spirit, the fulfillment of that promise to reach the nations with the good news of salvation had begun. I miss you guys. Can't wait to see you all after this is all over. Bye.